as a tradition around these parts, we're gonna give this series the usual one-shot farewell. Healing good, you've definitely had a bit of a rough road over this past year, but really so have all of us. So just for being able to gut it out, you've definitely earned this. Though you've done a lot more for us as well as this franchise as a whole, so definitely take this kanpai and thank you for a great year. We open this final outing with our heroines having packed their bags and getting ready for the advertised trip to the Healing Garden. They reunite with their respective partners after being apart for about a year, and oh, would you look at those Mitsuru Aoyama faces and their total lack of detail. Alright, maybe it's the rum talking, but I think I'll go easy on Aoyama this week. I mean, it's the final epilogue of this show that's had one hell of a troubled production. I think we can let one last kind of low-budget animated episode pass. Also, I just realized his birthday was last Tuesday, so, I'll stop making fun of the birthday boy. And credit where it's due, at least his screaming faces have always been good. But yeah, after a good gag with Hinata, they've landed safely in the Healing Garden, which I'm guessing is where most of the animation budget went, because honestly, it looked great. It was laid out well, it had some really nice colors that weren't too bright, but did also give off a nice otherworldly feel to it. To get a real good look at it, the healing animals led their partners to the main palace across the river. Oh come on, y'all ain't even being subtle with your Jesus illusions. There they saw the statue of the original Cure Earth, as well as the current version, and her little doggy too. Notably, Latte was now talking in more complete sentences, and could even name everyone, except for Rablin, who she could only see as a mochi-esque confection that Toy is going to try and make to sell to the kiddies. Her mother also welcomed their guests, who all brought their own greeting gifts, which all turned out to be the same thing. Your town really needs to work on its tourist appeal if that's the only noble souvenir you've got. Fortunately, the garden had plenty of residents that they could share them with. Sure enough, as soon as they heard the Precure were there, all of the citizens of Zootopia gathered and happily partook of their artificially colored confections. All the animals took a quick liking to our heroines, in particular the birds loving the angelic Chiyu, and oh geez, Piggytown was with that face, and oh that's even worse. Dude, when you start making faces that even freak out the preenies, you should seek help. However, not everything was sunshine and rainbows, as even after a year since their defeat, remnants of the Byoken still remained in parts of the garden. Of course, the Precure prayed it would get better, but Cranky Kong here didn't exactly appreciate their sentiment. To be exact, Saro here wasn't a huge fan of the Precure, mostly because they were humans, and... Oh boy, we're going down this direction, aren't we? At least they had the decency to save it till the very end. The old monkey gave the usual humans pollute and destroy their environment spiel, though it did at least tie back to the Byokens by pointing out how our actions are admittedly similar to theirs. And while he did admit that it might have all just been a part of our evolution, it was an evolution that might well lead to an entity not unlike King Byogen. Well, since I referenced Gao Geiger last week... But yeah, considering one of my favorite mech anime got away with hammering in a similar message, I'm not against him doing it here as a final hurrah, as it does strongly tie into the major themes and conflict of this show. With even our heroines in main, there was every possibility that they could become the next enemy to the Healing Garden. Also, it's worth mentioning that this monkey, he's voiced by the same guy who did King Byogen. Yeah, I don't know why either. Is that supposed to be ironic or something? Back with the young healing animals and the Manju, a surviving Nana Byoken managed to infect the confections. And somehow, this resulted in the creation of 6 separate Mega Byokens, even though it only managed to infect 1 elemental. Nah, it's more likely because they're mostly made up of preservatives. I'm so glad I stuck with this joke until the very end. Seriously, it makes a lot more sense than this 6-pack nonsense they try to hammer in, even harder than the environmental message. Anyway, the Cures transform one last time and engage the monster with some surprisingly good animation. I guess the birthday boy decided to bring his A game today. I mean, he's certainly put in a lot more effort than a certain purple-headed chick with a sweet tooth.
あの健やかまんじゅうを攻撃するなど、私にはとても。
And yes, the infection of the Mako piece has completely taken over. You had a good run, Asumi, but now you are officially an even bigger gag character than Hinata. Of course, King Monkey Byogen was quick to blame the Precure for all of this. This led into a bit of a forced blue screen moment for our heroines just so that Latte would have an excuse to pull a Hakutan and call for reinforcements from another season. Of course, it turned out to be the new kid who helped by delivering a very powerful, Buster! Well, I guess all those squats must have really paid off, eh, Hibiki? But yeah, Manatsu is here, delivered one more kick, and then was quickly KO'd, so yeah, kinda standard fare for these last episode run-ins, excluding Hana, though at least this one gave me a good laugh. And if anything, she made the Healing Good team realize there will always be a force for good out there who will protect their environment and prevent humanity from walking down the same path as the Byokens. With that, they rounded up the monsters, and Asumi managed to rejoin the battle thanks to Latte suggesting she just close her eyes if she didn't want to see herself kill the monster Manju. And yeah, as dumb as all of this was, I did get another good laugh out of seeing her firing her arrow with her eyes closed. I mean, just imagine if she had missed.
Message for you, son.
With that, they rescued the one Harvest Elemental. Again, I'm not even going to try to make sense of this six-pack nonsense. And thank Manatsu for her help, even giving her yet another promotional trinket that won't likely play into the show proper as usual, and she was transported back to her season. Maybe in the spring film, depending on how much time they give for the short movie. With that, it was about time to say their farewells, with Sorrow still likely holding some prejudice, but was willing to give humanity a chance, especially when they could produce this awesome insert song that was playing. Seriously, I would have killed to hear this song called We Are Alive played during any other part of the show, but no, we're just gonna do it here at the end. Oh well, at least it was an excellent tune to close things out, with of course a certain catchphrase. As an epilogue to what I consider to be the actual finale to the series, this was about what I expected, which wasn't much. One thing I was hoping for was more closure for the Byokens. I mean, I wasn't expecting any of the generals to actually show up, but it would have been nice to learn more about their origins rather than being given this vague hinting that they started off as a species like humans and that we could easily turn into them and all that jazz. Again, I'm not totally against environmental messages, and this wasn't delivered too heavy-handedly, and if anything, it was nice to see this team one last time, until the spring movie, which by the looks of it is going to be great, by the way. Truth be told, I knew Mitsuru Aoyama was animating this epilogue, so I wasn't expecting much, but yet what amounted to just an extra fight was surprisingly well done. Again, I do think the birthday boy at least wanted to do something special for this series that has done everything it could through these very tenuous times for all of us. With that in mind, I just can't really go against the idea of closing things out with an environmental message, as it also does encourage us to take care of each other as we begin this long road to recovery after 2020. It was a little ham-fisted in areas, but not distractingly so, and Sorrow was a likable enough character. That said, and while it did tie into the show's themes, I also would have liked to have gotten a proper origin story for the Byokens, who at this point seem like a bit of a distant memory. In general, I just don't think Precure really need these epilogues, as they often just act as a platform for the next season anyway. For this season, I would have loved the whole episode to learn more about these antagonists. There is more I want to discuss about them, like their individual defeats, but I'll save that for the eventual series overview of this show. For now, considering what we were given, this was a fine enough little epilogue. It had some good comedy, surprisingly good action at times, and was just kind of comforting to watch during these times. So a pretty much spot on summation of the series as a whole. Other things I would have liked to have seen was maybe a little bit more of Manatsu, though if Tropical Rouge is going to be mostly a comedy season, maybe this whole bit was actually a perfect introduction to the character. Speaking of which, the after credits baton pass scene was just kind of there. We didn't get to see much of the newbie's personality. Though we did get one last trailer where we got to see a little bit of everyone's transformations, where the focus was on their established charm points. Apparently there's also going to be a live stream on YouTube previewing the new series that will start at 4 p.m. Hawaii time on Friday, which, yeah, I'll be at work at that time, so yeah, I don't think I'll have the time to look at that until Saturday morning, though I might bring it up during my episode 1 review of the series. We also got one more trailer for the spring movie, which, as I said, is looking great, and also learned that the new partner fusion forms were called the partner forms. Yeah, low on the nose, but whatever. It'll be nice to see this team at least one more time. Once again, thanks for the great year, girls. I'm about 70% done with the first part of my Gold Princess review, so definitely look forward to it either this coming week or the next. And I guess it's only appropriate I start releasing these reviews just as a season with the same character designer is about to start. Seriously, I did not plan any of this stuff out, it just kind of happens. Still look forward to watching a series review where we'll see the new purple of the season during her very early days. Yeah, I think it's about as good a time as any for a little bit of a change up. I mean, this reviewer outfit, as well as this background, have served me well over the past few years, but now I think it's time for a little transformation. So let's do it with some style. Henshin! Nice, huh? I took it myself. Though, I should probably wear a little less black if I'm gonna be out in the sun this much.